What's going on, everyone? So Anthony Davis has made it abundantly clear, and he hasn't been shy about it at all, that he wants to play power forward. He doesn't mind playing center in spots, and very likely he maybe closes games down the stretch. Even if he doesn't in the regular season, come playoff time, he's probably the center for the closing, 5 minutes or so of the game. But he wants to primarily be the power forward. The Lakers just signed him, and they have him through 2028. And they're going to want to do what they can to keep him happy, to keep him in line, to keep him, leading this team and leading the charge post LeBron James. And it kind of sucks because LeBron at this point in his career is best at the 4 spot. But if Anthony Davis is playing the 4 and they do start, say, a Jackson Hayes or something like that, that shifts LeBron James to the 3. But even post LeBron James, it begs the question if Anthony Davis is the power forward of the future, right? Anthony Davis is going to be our 4 of the future. Couple things. One, we clearly need a center for the future. Maybe that's Colin Castleton and he grows and develops. Maybe it's Jackson Hayes and they're able to keep him and he grows and develops. Time will tell. But regardless, the Lakers, if Anthony Davis is going to be the 4 and going to play the 4 90% of his career going forward, then the Lakers need a center. Here's the thing, though. What happens with Rui Hachimura? Because Rui Hachimura, can he play the 3? Sure. Is he best at the 3? No. He is best at the power forward position. He is, by all intents and purposes, supposed to be LeBron James' replacement. When LeBron leaves, Rui Hachimura steps in to the starting power forward role, and he is our power forward of the future. The Lakers locked him in. He's making $17 million a year or whatever over the course of the next several seasons. He's supposed to be the guy that the Lakers hand the keys to when LeBron leaves, and we have a front court of Rui Hachimura, Anthony Davis, and Jared Vanderbilt, which is very good, right? Jared Vanderbilt, hopefully he continues to improve and continues to work on his offensive game and his three-point shooting. Rui Hachimura, I truly believe, could be a 20-plus point a game scorer if given the opportunity, right? But what happens if Anthony Davis is the power forward of the future? Do the Lakers use Rui Hachimura as a trade chip to go and get that center of the future? Now, I'm not necessarily saying that this is something that they're going to do or to lock it in, but it actually does really beg the question, and it actually is something that wouldn't surprise me at all, right? Because I think the original intention was you got a sizable forward that you're bringing in, and then he's a guy, if he works, which he's looked like he did, then he's a guy that now you could slot next to Anthony Davis. As you have Davis at the 5, Rui at the 4. It's perfect. You got some good size. You got some versatility. Both guys can shoot. Both guys can spread the floor. Rui, if he gets switched on a 5, he's big enough and strong enough to at least hold his own, as we saw with Jokic. But if AD is going to be the 4, are you just going to have Rui Hachimura as your backup 4 for the rest of his career? And is he going to be okay with that? At some point, does he ask out? Because he's looking at it as I'm supposed to be the 4 when LeBron leaves, right? And now you're telling me that Anthony Davis, he's going to be the 4. Where do I fit in? That, or he's going to have to make the adjustment to be the 3. But then, one, his level of mismatch goes away on both sides of the ball, right? The thing that makes him such a mismatch at the 4 spot is his size and his strength and his sneaky quickness, but also his ability to knock down the mid-range, right? He's a guy you could dump it down on the block or dump it down, in that 10 to 15 range and just let Rui go to work, and he's going to go get you a bucket. And everybody that's his size can't guard him, right? Anybody smaller, he's just going to shoot over. And anybody bigger, he's just going to blow by, as we've seen. He can be that mismatch. But when he's at the 3, he's going up against guys that are longer, twitchier, quicker, right? And then also on the defensive side, he struggles to guard those guys. Now, that doesn't mean he can't grow and develop and end up being able to do that. But how much do you lose as far as him kind of being that mismatch at the 4 spot is the question. Now, I don't think they're going to just trade Rui Hachimura just to trade Rui Hachimura, right? Like, I don't think they're going to, like, there's talks about Valanciunas potentially being a target for the Lakers. Like, I don't think the Lakers are trading Rui for, like, a Valanciunas or, like, a Vucevic or something like that. But if, like, a Miles Turner becomes available again, do the Lakers go and trade for Turner? Do they kind of use Rui as, like, that incentive piece? Look, the Pacers were interested in trading Miles Turner to Lakers. The deal was done. Just Genie ended up overriding it. But if the Pacers end up getting to the point where they're not very good. Now, look, if the Pacers are good, I don't think they're going to trade him. But if they struggle and they're kind of like a play-in team or whatnot, do they look at it as like, we should get something for Miles Turner, right? Like, and we could do worse than Rui, who's locked up for several seasons, and we can kind of make him a key piece and add him to our young core? That's a real possibility. And Miles Turner has expressed the interest to want to be a Laker, and he would be the perfect complement next to Anthony Davis. And then you could still have a starting unit of Austin Reeves, a future starting unit of Austin Reeves, Max Christie, Jared Vanderbilt, Anthony Davis, and Miles Turner. Good luck scoring on that team. Seriously. Like, you're not going to be able to score inside because you got Miles Turner and Anthony Davis. You're not going to be able to score out on the perimeter because you got Max Christie, Jared Vanderbilt, and Austin Reeves. All five guys, hopefully, assuming Jared Vanderbilt can develop a shot, all five guys can now shoot the ball, right? Like, that's probably one of the best starting fives in the league at that point. And Miles Turner is young enough to where he could be a key fixture for the next, 5 years or whatever, right? Like, and again, I'm not saying Miles Turner will be available. I'm just using him as an example of this level of center, right? Like, if you could go and get a guy like a Miles Turner, who he's young enough to be a part of your future and also slot next to Anthony Davis and still maintain a lot of the same type of production. He's a guy that can spread the floor, that can knock down shots, that can, defend and rebound, right? Like, do the Lakers look at something like that, right? Do the Lakers go and try to get a center? Or do they save him for, like, say an Embiid or something like that becomes available, right? Now, I think that would be a tougher sell, but do the Lakers go, hey, we'll give you Rui Hachimura, a couple firsts, like, and you start putting together this, like, ridiculous package, like, and maybe you get some incentive from, like, one of these star centers? Be a possibility. Every time somebody says, like, oh, Lakers will never get that guy, turns out Lakers end up getting that guy. So, again, I'm not saying that will happen. I'm just using this as an example. And it does make sense, right? Like, it would make sense for the Lakers to do that if Anthony Davis really is the power forward of the future. Because then at that point, Rui just kind of becomes the odd man out. Right? Like, yes, you could play him at the 3. Yes, he would be great as your backup 4 for the rest of his career. But how long is he okay with that? And you're paying him $17 million a year to do that. Right? Like, is that something you really want to do? It can kind of complicate and muddy things. Now, maybe they work it out. Maybe they figure it out, right? Maybe Anthony Davis, once LeBron and everything leaves and, he's trying to win a championship, maybe he's okay with playing the 5. Right? If they can't really get a reasonable 5 to come in, maybe it's like, hey man, you're gonna have to play the 5. Sorry, I know you don't like it, but you and Rui and Vando, like that's the future. That could be a possibility, but I really think the Lakers are going to kind of give AD what he wants. I mean, they've publicly stated that. Both Rob Pelinka and Darvin Ham have both said, that, hey, like, we're trying to make it so Anthony Davis can play the 4. It's what they're trying to do. So if that's the case, at some point, you're going to need a legit center. And I'm not saying that this necessarily happens this year, right? Maybe it happens next year. Maybe it happens, 2 years from now, something like that. Maybe it's not Miles Turner. Maybe it's somebody else. But at some point, the Lakers are going to have to get their stability at the center position. And Rui Hachimura makes the most sense as far as value to go get that. Now, you could argue maybe Jared Vanderbilt, right? Again, just continue to develop Rui and have Rui kind of play the 4 or play the 3. But Jared Vanderbilt that's like his money spot, right? Like, Jared Vanderbilt as your 3 is ideal. He's got the size, the length, the quickness, the twitchiness. The only thing he lacks is a three-point shot. But he's been in the lab working his tail off to get that. And if he becomes a reliable three-point shooter, not even elite, just reliable, then Jared Vanderbilt at the three is a better option than Rui Hachimura. It just is. So it just becomes like, okay, well, what do you do? And are you going, okay, let's say you do want to move off of Jared Vanderbilt, right? Well, then who becomes your long, lengthy, twitchy point of attack defender, right? Like, yes, being able to defend the interior is great. You'd have Miles Turner and Anthony Davis. Good luck trying to score inside. But you still need perimeter defense. You still need a guy that you can put on a Kyrie, a Luka. Like, do you want Austin Reeves to do it? Like, I love Austin Reeves, but like, you know, he's not an elite defensive guy, right? He's a good defender. He's really good in the team defense. And then Max Christie. Like, Max Christie looks like he has the potential to be an elite defensive player. But, you know, is he a guy that you can put on Brandon Ingram and Luka and Kyrie and, Jamal Murray or something like that, right? Like, where Jared Vanderbilt, you can. Like, Jared Vanderbilt has the size, the length, everything. He just needs the offensive threat. And again, just think, like, if you had an Austin Reeves, Max Christie, assuming Max Christie evolves into the guy we think he will, right? And the promise that he's shown. If you have a Reeves, Christie, Vando, Davis, and Turner, and that's your starting five, like, good luck. Good luck. Right? Like, how do you score on that roster? And then all five guys can shoot the ball? All five guys can score? Right? Again, assuming Jared Vanderbilt develops that offensive game, or at least that shooting, it becomes that thing where it's like, Rui just becomes the odd man out between these two. And look, I love Rui. I made a video until I got the Laker Damas tagline, right? Because I made a video diving into and talking about Rui Hachimura and said, like, the Lakers really need to go get this guy. And sure enough, like 2 hours later, the Lakers got him, right? So, like, I am big on Rui Hachimura. But you look at this roster, you look at what they're trying to do and what they're trying to build, and now we have new information, right? Rui made sense because the Lakers at the time needed the size. They needed a guy like Rui, and Anthony Davis was the five, right? So you have Rui who could be your backup four or your starting level four. And if Rui evolves into the guy that we believe he will, then it really becomes tough to have him not start and not play as a starter. And is he willing to buy into it? Especially if the Lakers, like, let's say the Lakers win a championship or two, right, between now and then, right? The Lakers could win a championship this year. Like, now he's looking at it as like, I've already gotten my championship. I came off the bench doing that. Like, I want to be a starter. I earned my stripes, this, that, and the other. Like, I get Anthony Davis wants to play the four, but like, I earned it, right? And so does he kind of feel like, all right, like, it's time for me to go. And if that's the case, you go and you trade him for a center. But anyway, it's just a thought, just a conversation. As always, I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think that that's a possibility? Would you do it for the right center? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below.